Welcome back to some professional StarCraft 2, our favorite Tier 3 champion. In the bottom left, I give you the Protoss Korean player. It's classic. He's come back and he's showing us those top-tier strategies are working against the best of the best still. Another returning player. You'll probably recognize him as the second best player potentially in StarCraft 2 history. Kind of the opposite, though, in terms of gameplay. We got soO. He still doesn't really seem to admit that Hive Tech exists. He has been focused on those Lisks and those Lings. And you know what? Maybe the new patch will help him out with that. But we are still on our tried and true last few years here in the ESL Cup, at least for now. So, PvZ. Will we see any action in the first few minutes? Or will I have to fill time? I mean, that's what gets the likes and subscribes, right? Dramatic pause. At the end of the day, it's about the personality of the player. It's about whether or not you want to spend your time with them, as opposed to whether or not it's the most particularly dramatic moment. Okay, it's the moments between the dramatic moments that truly matter. The moments where you put a GG spray down after accidentally grabbing the minerals and making it so you can no longer mildly annoy the drones. So you start giving them a nice little tap on the cheek there, but the drones ain't having any of it. He's actually got... Is that... I don't think that's the default one. Thank you for giving me something classic, though. I think that's actually a different than default. I do love one of the favorite holdovers from the addition, the very minimal addition, but the addition of sprays in SC2, was the fact that the default spray for players on new accounts and in general is just the GG spray. So you're like, what's this button? Oh. And there was about a year when Overlords could use spray, which I don't know why that, it feels like a massive nerf. That was a huge, since Zerg's barely ever drone scout, Overlord should be able to lay down a spray. I think that's only fair. I don't know why that wasn't removed. Honestly, the new patch changes, they don't address that. They say it's a Zerg buff, but without the ability to intimidate and BM your opponent like that, can it really be considered a Zerg buff? Up for debate. All right, a lot of people are asking that question. So, another question. What is the best way to deal with a single adept when that probe stopped you from taking your natural? A lot of answers to that as well, but nobody has really found a direct solution, as you just kind of have to discourage the adept from being too annoying. Gets a good scout around. We've got glaives on the way for Classic. And oh god. Well, 50 shades of glaives. We got only the one gate right now, despite the glaives. No kills yet, but what are we seeing? 1. Alright, I can count. That's 3. Can I get number 4? Yes. Wow. A classic tactic indeed. This is one of the most popular builds of early Legacy of the Void. In fact, so popular, Jimmy. Well, momentarily, can we get a comparison here? soO is missing his Roach Warring, according to our build order guide. We'll see if he starts that momentarily. As not starting the Roach Warring by about 4 minutes could cost him. Yeah, getting Spore Crawlers, not the ideal choice. Against Glaive Adepts, we'll see. Yeah, well, at this point, without a Roach Warring, he's in trouble. He doesn't have any Banelings, it's just Queens. That... Not actually, I mean, that is actually the production tab of, like, 3 out of 4 games for about 6 months in this matchup. There's the Roach Warren. There's only a Stalker at the front, which is enough for the Zerglings to take down and make things interesting. Classic, not going to go across the map and say he's going to try to deal with this, which is going to give away the glaives, by the way. Yeah, he's going to see it. I'm not sure about that choice, as he had the opportunity to blindside soO. to hit him with the Shades before he really had any time to build up defenses. But now the glaives have been revealed, the queens have been pulled into position, the Zergling count has swelled, and even though they're going to get eviscerated by the resonating glaives, that doesn't necessarily mean much other damage is going to be done by the time roaches come out. Classic is focused on what he's doing behind this at the moment. Oh, there's 2 Adepts in there. A bit of an F2 here. Select all army out of Classic. He's murdering the queens. Regicide going on at the 3rd. But the Zerglings... Oh, he doesn't have a Shade out. He's microing the Adepts in the main. Oh, no. Classic. soO able to collapse on most of the Adepts. And with it, well, he's going to kill another queen here. Gets a creep tumor. Okay. Well, screw you guys. With her dying gasp. Well, that's about as well as it could go for soO. He ends up losing only 2 drones. Yeah, wow. 10 Adepts. Classic, not really finding much. He's coming in again. He's done a juggle with the Prism. Gets 2 more drones, but... behind it, he does have a 3rd. That's a very key part of all this. Now, I don't think the 3rd is what kept this from doing damage, but with the 3rd base already done, look at the probe count. We're at 53 probes to 52 drones. There's not even a lair for soO, so we're caught in this kind of awkward situation where you're forced into this Ravager Ling army. Of course, that army is designed to deal with Adepts. Pictured here, dealing with Adepts. Couple Shades into the 3rd. He's losing a lot of Adepts with each of these attacks. So even though the Warp Prism slides back in and slips out with 4... Wow, Classic! Not the money grab. The 4th base here. We have a 4th Nexus to the south. He's just pretending like he has the army to defend. What? He's built the wall. Wow, it's a hard wall. I've never seen it. I've never seen anyone wall this location like that. That is quite a move. Yeah. Fine, okay. He's gonna get away with it. So the prevailing issue here is a severe lack of units that shoot up. As the Spire is going to be finishing soO with 7 or 8 mutas in the bank at least here. By the time it completes. Blink is on the way for Classic, but he's still mining off of just 2. Oh, he added a 3rd gas here at the 3rd base, but the amount of... Stalkers are not really a counter to mutas. They're just for deflecting them away from key locations. Oh, this game's gonna get weird. It's either gonna end incredibly abruptly or be very dramatic. I know what I'm rooting for, but there are a grand total of 0 anti-air units right now for Classic. Whereas there are 8 mutas in production for soO. So even though soO's been in kind of an awkward spot economically, like... Well, will he warp in some Stalkers? He's got so many Adepts. But a Baneling Nest is about to complete, some Ravagers on the way. The Muta's headed across the map. There's a couple cannons, but nothing to directly deal with the Mutalisks. Alright, there's nothing at the 3rd here. Plus the Banelings. Classic! Feels like he's missed a glaring part of potential strategy here. And he's got that 4th base and will retreat to it. Has a couple cannons, plus 1 about to finish. Warp Prism into the main. Main attack. That's a meaty Protoss army. Some Banelings could definitely help here. Eventually, the Mutas should be able to deal with this. But it looks like soO should have enough. 10 probes down. The Mutas are coming back to defend. And there's just not that many Stalkers. There's still an Adept, but that will be dealt with. Warp Prism warping in Stalkers, but the ground army's still here. Yeah, Classic. You need units that shoot up. He acknowledges. Maybe a little late. Loses 1 Immortal. And... well, the Mutas won the fight. soO lost his 4th, and Classic has still had his throughout this. but 70 workers. Classic keeps just losing his entire army and pretending it didn't happen. At some point, the balance comes due. At some point, you have to figure out, oh no, that is the least useful zealot. That zealot is trying its best, and its best isn't remotely good enough. Yeah, this is bad. More stalkers warping in, but soO is now in the main. How do you like it? He says. The shield batteries, he blunked up to the high ground, and now the mutas and ravagers on the low. That seems like about that. Classic has no real response to the mutas. And that is the reason we see a lot more Stargate openers nowadays as well. Though this was a particular commitment to Adepts. Well, the blind spot ends up coming back to bite him here. That's the summary. You can't just build only Adepts for the entire game. Classic. Interesting game one. soO correctly recognizing a significant weakness. Maybe Classic's been playing too much co-op, where Adepts can shoot up. In fact, I forget if they had that in the beta. Either way, soO 1-0. I think we'll see Stargate this game. That was not an ideal Adept all-in. Even though soO, or even Adept timing, even though soO was kind of ill-equipped to defend it, that extra 30 seconds, that's a round of Zerglings, that's the Roach Warren finishing, that's the Queens in the right spot. That is a long 30 seconds. We're on Data C, though. Tropical Sacrifice is also a macro map. This is the most macro of macro maps. Stargazers is a little different, because Stargazers, on paper, is a macro map, but it's actually just a doing weird all-ins with close air positions map, when you look closely. Spawning pool, Nexus, Gateway, Extractor, Drones, Probe, and we've covered the whole production tab. Nothing unexpected there. Slaps down the cyber. More like, do they, is it a call in? Do they pick up or they obviously have some sort of neural implant or something. Do they call in the building, or do they take it out of their backpack and it just unfolds real quick? Or maybe they take out their backpack and that calls in the building. Little probe backpack just throws down a spot of light, so they know. Stargate. Well, if this isn't... if it isn't lessons learned... I do not mind the Adept all-in in game one. As a Protoss, you gotta play with a full deck of cards. Is really how it feels at this level. You gotta have another option. You gotta keep some ambiguity. You gotta keep them guessing, because if the Zerg knows what you're gonna do every game, they're easily gonna counter it. That's what they're designed around. So, here we have Classic falling back on the Stargate, but soO doesn't know that. He doesn't know that for a guarantee. He may have noticed the warp gate delay slightly, but occasionally players will do that and then just go, so did he mess up the wall, or is this intentional? Serral, every time he sees a pylon in the wall, what was the quote? It's just, it offended me, I believe, was his quote. Winning Home Story Cup by Baneling busting after an epic series. It's I saw the pylon in the wall, and I was somewhat offended by that. And then, because it's just such a vulnerable point. Like, have some respect. Build a gateway. Has plenty of respect. He builds a gateway as a hard wall, and then expands to a corner like a true Bronze League hero. And then he warps in units on the other side of the gate and they die because there's no way to get back into the base. But that's neither here nor there. Oracle slides in. The queens strongly discourage it from continued activities. 3 drones. Not great. Not terrible. Phoenix comes out next. And then an Oracle. Ah. Wow. The variety pack rotating an Oracle back into the mix here. Knocks down the Overlord. And then the Twilight Forge. I think at least 2 Oracles. You're always going to get value from them, if only for Revelation. Revelation, one of the strongest abilities in the game. Being essentially unstoppable. I don't mean like, oh my god, it does so much damage, but there's no real way to prevent it without the Protoss making a mistake. It is hard to keep track of it when managing everything else, but Revelation is not it. Oh my... Oh, it's been a while. A classic tactic. The lift and poke. Nope. Lifting the queen into the Oracle doing damage. Reminiscent of a time when Zerg players wouldn't just build a spore crawler. soO reminiscing real hard right now with no spore crawler, so... did not build one at the natural. So it works out. Charge first. And an Archon Den. A Templar Archives. Instead of the Blink... Oh, are we still doing this? Another round. Okay. Did not... It wasn't incredible. 6 drones down, but loses the Phoenix. The Queens, wow. His select all Queens hotkey definitely at work here. And then he used base camera injects, it looks like, because now all the Queens are going in every direction. Just build the spore, soO. Come on. It's like, no. No. It's inefficient. It's like, you've lost 6 drones. Okay. All right. Now he's building a spire, correctly assuming that Classic is not going to continue down the Stargate path. Is he also assuming Classic is not even bothering with Blinkstalkers? Archons are pretty great against Mutas. This isn't the patch where they can slip through those small building walls. Not that... Well, that actually would be a huge deal for dealing with Mutas. But at the same time, Archons not known for their agility. Not known for their speed, their range. They make up for it with their girth and damage. Emotional and physical. All right, they've got 2 very happy parents who are angry at everyone else, especially the Zerg. Well, 3 Archon. Like, what is this? Once again, soO coming out, or Classic coming out with the creative attack. He's got 3 Archon, like 4 charge lot, 3 adept timing attack. Oracle, on the run from some Mutas, flies over the spore crawler. The Mutas in awe of that spore crawler right now. Gonna chase down 2 Archons running. Well, not really running, gliding menacingly in the opposite direction of the enemy. A tactical withdrawal. The Mutas on the chase. What is happening? Excuse me, sir. Oh, the Mutas! Oh! Ow. He does not have Blink, but he does have Overcharge. And there's a... Well... Phoenix is on the way. Definitely a safer choice, but soO's gonna go Sky Toss. Nope. soO's gonna go Sky Zerg. I'm sorry. Freudian slip there. I didn't expect to say that word after sky. It doesn't usually work, so. Phoenixes are okay, but the key is having them before the mutas become a problem. Also, getting Corruptors when the only thing in the air is Phoenixes might end up being overkill. You run the severe risk. Oh, I figured out the changelings. You run the severe risk of overbuilding Corruptors and then ending up without a ground. Does he? No, those aren't Sloaches. They're just scampering. The tactical scamper. The tactic scamp. No. I don't know. Like, we don't. I'm not here to make up words. I'm here to recite them alongside some professional StarCraft. Okay, that's why the people like. That's why they subscribe. Not for wordsmithing. That's not a word. It is now. Well, 2 more Stargates and a fleet beacon. Ah, he discovers the Corruptors in the least comfortable way. This is going to be, once again, soO demonstrating his disdain for the Hive. Okay? He's building everything he can while dramatically and glaringly avoiding even getting an infestation pit. Which is classic soO in a nutshell. Roaches working their way through, but that might open up an opportunity for the Disruptor. Oh my god, the Protoss tech pustule. No, he's popping the pustule. The amount of Protoss players who just build all their important tech on the corner of their base. This is usually more of an issue in Protoss versus Terran, where like 2 medevacs come in and gut the entire tech tree. But it's a unique issue here, where he just lost his Robo-Bay, and now his Templar Archives and his Fleet Beacon are exposed. So I mean, just build it at the natural. That's all I'm trying to. That's one of my lesser peeves, but it's still one of my most domesticated ones. It's been a slow burn. We haven't seen this issue in a while because most Protoss have gotten a lot better about this, especially on maps that are vulnerable by air, like Data C. But classic. He's been doing this for 8 years. He's not going to change now. soO is begrudgingly making an obligatory infestation pit. Just with great disdain, with irritation and frustration, he's admitting Hive Tech might be okay. So the Banelings in the air died to the Phoenixes, splashing to the ground, killing the Assimilator, which happens. Alright. Classic kills his own... Oh my god. Classic managed to hit 2 Banelings and a Pylon, I think, with all those Disruptor shots. Otherwise, nothing but open air. Or water, I guess, on Data C. Either way. He started a caustic spray over here. These two really, they're really working around. This is quite an exchange. I'm kind of not sure what I'm looking at much of the time. Shield battery overcharge. Like, that's not that many carriers, but it's also... Is it enough? What is it? What are we wanting? Where are the other parts of the armies? Is this just... Okay, well, 3 more carriers are going to make the decision here. Yeah, 3 more carriers plus the entire ground army. Is this like a... We having a duel over here between all the air units while we wait for the ground units to be ready to fight again? Kind of what it feels like. Well... It appears that the carrier count has grown... Wow, yeah. Whoa, okay. It's up to 9 carriers, going to a full dozen. Meanwhile, soO has most of his supply in Roach Baneling, which is not known for countering carriers particularly well. He's now getting an Ultralisk Cavern, which is certainly one of the choices you can make. as we're dragged, kicking, screaming, and gliding into the late game. Storm in production. Oh, that's not a super pylon. I don't think those Templar are ever going to see the light of day. Pretty decent Ruptor hit. Another shot underneath. The carriers have arrived, though. And the Golden Swarm flung out. Will the Corruptors be enough? It feels like soO has missed his opportunity to wipe the carriers out. You know that eternal platinum level advice of, like, how do I counter carriers? Just don't let them. It appears soO did not follow that advice, and now there are a dozen carriers on the field, despite the investment in Sky Zerg. They have +2 attack, +1 shields against +2 attack Corruptors. There's a bunch of Disruptor Archon underneath. There are no storms that I can see. If he can deal with the Archons, the Corruptors may very well be able to help deal with the carriers, but the Archons start adding a lot of damage. Disruptor shots hit the Queens. The carrier count is far too high. And Classic is able to power his way through into a victory. Well, that was certainly... we're going to have to go back to the spawning pool on that one. soO tried to make Sky Zerg work. Except without Vipers, without Infestors. It was a valiant attempt. But a futile one. Game 3, Cosmic Sapphire. In a best of 3, Classic lets Cosmic Sapphire into the map pool? What? This is like the first veto against Zerg for most players. Whereas Stargazers and Moondance are noticeably absent. Well... He sent a probe out at the beginning of the map to block the hatch, which means soO, acknowledging the only 2 places you're allowed to expand as a self-respecting Zerg are your third of their natural. Frustratingly, but we've come to accept it. I've come to accept 13 pooling, personally, but to each their own. Getting bullied by probes for... better part of more than a decade. All right, time to flirt with the minerals a bit. Oh no! He committed. Give him the spray. Give him the spray! Classic. Doesn't even find the space to get the spray down. Then how are we gonna know? How is he going to assert dominance now that he's got these? It's like wearing a fanny pack. All right, those minerals. No one takes you seriously anymore. They know. They know you're taken. They know you have 3 kids. Okay? And they know you like at least one of them. You're probably a cool dad as that probe. But let's be honest here. Nobody's putting you on the cover of, I don't know, anything, really. Maybe PC Gamer. Which, you know, good for you. You're 34 years old, and while you might not have as much time to play games as you used to, at least you can still play them. Not StarCraft. You'd rather just watch these YouTubers play StarCraft and think about when you used to play StarCraft in college or high school or whatever. But, like, the idea of it and listening to it in the background, like, after a stressful day of not playing StarCraft, you know what? That's fine, too. So, at the end of the day, that's why we're all here. Well, not me, but you guys. It's statistically the majority of people here, hopefully, at least. Stargate. Who would have thought? The Adept, I thought Classic would have some up his sleeve. No, it's just a usual sleeve. Gets away. Wow, the range on that. Oracle, is it going to be Phoenix again? I mean, oh, Void Ray. He isn't like the other Protoss. All right, he picks random. What he does, he rolls like a d6 and then decides what Stargate unit. Of course, 3 sides are Oracle, but we're going Void Ray this time, just to make things interesting. All right, the Oracle gets 3 kills and a whole lot of knitting needles, puncturing it, bringing it to 25 HP. I don't know. That's another one. My entire commentary is apparently just complaining about things that pro players do that apparently are good, even though they seem bad on paper. One of them being trying to get that one last kill with the Oracle and then taking like 80% hull damage. Like, is it worth one more drone? You could have just left after the first 1 or 2. But no, I'm gonna come in and get one more. And now you're like 4 or 5 queen hits away instead of 10. All right, well, this is certainly... Oh, I love it. Charge lots. Based on the amount of gas, though, I imagine a Templar archives as well. Otherwise, no idea what he's planning on with that gas, but it's going to be big charge lot Archon energy here. Well, actually, no energy, because that's what... Unfortunately, the Archons do lose that a bit. What? Unfortunately for Classic, the Lings just... They buttered up the Lings and they got by the Adept. Or the Adept let them in. Paid off by the same Zergs that make the balance patches, right? Well, he loses 4 probes and the entire base gets scouted. So that is subpar. Now a Robo Bay, but... And he's still building all his buildings on a corner of his base. But there isn't a Spire. Partially because he can't build one, because a lair is done. But if I were a Spire, I would be right here. Yes, very bold call. So he's going to go Roach Muta again. Oh my god, the Void Ray did that same thing. You know what he did. He did the same damn thing, but probably with like creep tumors. He's like, if I get this one creep tumor, it's worth having my Void Ray at 13 HP. Was it worth it? We'll see. Oh my. Oh. Please die to prove my point. It's like, no, I have 12 more HP than I need. What are you talking about? It's perfectly fine. Disruptor on the way. Archon's Classic doing his usual move of just skipping to the good units. He has 6 gateways. He's building 3 more. He has charge done. Yet he only has 2 Zealots and 4 Adepts. I guess 2 Archons, but... He's adding 5 more gateways, except these are more like wall-off gateways rather than... Okay. He really does love this move. We'll see. It's a bold move. Let's see if it works out for him. Meanwhile, Roaches. The Saga. Well, a Disruptor could make all the difference here. Those Archons realizing the Roach count is far too high. The creep spread already knocking on the door, only 7.5 minutes in. But Classic has 70 probes. He's got 4 bases pretty much locked down. I think this wall-off is working out as well. Units are not pathing now. Disruptors waiting for their moment. Fires a shot. Gets a Ravager and a Roach. There's another shot banked up. Fires it. Couple Roaches. There's another shot. Yes, the commentary is incredible, I know. Will he fire the shot? Will he not? He fires it. It's a roach. Very good at counting. What else do we have? Where's that Archon? I mean, not Archon. The Void Ray. I think it's chilling on the other side for now. A shot. That one a bit juicier. 13 Mutas on the way as he continues to encourage a ground-based army. The problem is that ground-based army also includes a bunch of Archons. So, soO, not even thinking about Hive Tech right now. He's just trying to flirt with the Disruptors, play hard to get. Unfortunately, sometimes the Disruptors do catch him. Baitling Nest on the way, Zerglings. Classic has enough Raptors, just go fishing now. Fleet Beacon, 2 more Stargates. Alright, he's touching the creep. Things about to get interesting. Ooh, 1 more Roach. But the Mutas! He does already have some cannons. Oh my god, the Raptors were left on the creep, but... Is Blink done? No, it's not even started. Deja vu. We've just been in this place before. Muta's doing nothing, and now a fleet beacon. While the Muta switch, not even switch, just really kind of addition, is definitely throwing a wrench in Classic's plan. Like, he's just pulling the wrench out and using it. He's like, oh, so you've encouraged me to go Fleet Beacon and Stargate. Which he was already doing, so... While it's actually finding a surprising amount of damage, soO did not have an infestation pit, he did not have a hive. I'm just like... I know. soO, it's not 2014 anymore. You can't just micro-mutas for 15 minutes. He's gonna kill 23 probes, and Classic plummets to 63. If there was a hive done for Vipers, or even to get a greater Spire, I could definitely see the Mutas be... Oh my god, let me... Alright. Oh, he could have just moved. It was fine. Alright. Oh my god. Alright, place your bets. He's gonna try to land the Disruptor hits exactly as the stasis ends. Is it gonna work? Place your bets. Okay. I mean... Well... in solidarity, the Banelings just yeet themselves into the Archons. This is quite a fight. The Disruptor shots kind of dotting the field. Queen's lifted. Oh, another Ruptor shot. Another one. They're Corruptors now. Oh, a great split there, but the Archons are closing in. Roaches do not seem like they are the answer here. Another round of Bane, another Ruptor shot. He just goes for... You get the money back mostly, but does it matter? And soO just kind of dies. GG! Well, soO kind of living in the past again with this series. His mechanics are still very good, but he sinks all this mechanical skill into units that were not even that great 5 years ago. I hope either it becomes good again or he sees the light, but oh, it's a tough time. Classic just eventually saunters across the map, claims the victory. And some respect. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Check out that Jimmy put the video up. Not them. Just ignore them. They're. Shh. I hope I made your day a little bit better. Thank you for watching. Good luck. Have fun. Stay chill.